Good evening. So glad you could be with us on this Friday. Highway 11 was closed for a few hours today near Matheson, east of Timmins, because of a collision. Provincial police say the crash happened on Highway 11 at Burton Road in Matheson. It involved a transport truck and a horse and buggy. The 4 people in the buggy were taken to hospital with injuries, but there is no update on their conditions. The road has partially reopened with traffic using one lane. Another warm one out there today. Will these above normal temperatures continue? Are we going to get any precipitation? For more details, let's bring in CTV's Amanda Hicks, filling in for Rick Wyman. Amanda.
Thanks, Tony. Yeah, we've got a bit of column A and column B heading into this weekend. Your first look at weather is brought to you by CAA. You can become a member at getcaa.ca. So on the thermometer, we are going to see some near seasonal temperatures heading into this weekend, but the humidity is going to stick around. And of course, that means there's a chance of showers heading into the weekend as well. Chance of precipitation, more depending on where you are, less depending on where you are. I'll have those details and whether or not you should maybe move any of your plans this weekend coming up a bit later on in the show. Tony.
Thanks for that, Amanda. 2 weeks ago, North Bay Council made amendments to its accountability and transparency bylaw. Council voted to amend its bylaws so all councillors' expenses are posted publicly. Their expense reports are now available online. This stems from Mayor Peter Chirico using the city-issued credit card for $16,000 in personal expenses. While he's paid that back, he has returned his credit card to the city. An investigation is being done by the OPP into the use of the card. The Timmins Fire Department is in dire need of a new aerial fire truck, according to its fire chief. Scott Atkinson told council at a special meeting this afternoon that it will need around $2.4 million for the equipment 3 years sooner than projected. We'll have more on this story at 6 o'clock. The Ontario Drug Policy Research Network indicated a decrease in drug-related deaths reported in July 2025 compared to numbers last year. CTV's Madison Merrier has more on the impacts of the opioid crisis in Sudbury. All right, we seem to be having some technical problems, so given that, it's time for a quick break. Coming up on CTV News at 5, Amanda has your full weather forecast. Right now, though, let's head to Elliott Lake. There's a live webcam from the Fire Tower Lookout. It's 25 Celsius. We are back in just a few minutes.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Welcome back from the break. Happy Friday, everyone. We've made it to the weekend, and I wish I could say that we have a sunny summer weekend ahead of us, but there is some precipitation on the way, so you know what? The gardens are going to like it. It's all good. Let's take a look with the forecast radar, and as you can see, some pockets of precipitation, some in heavily concentrated areas depending on where you are, Chapleau, Kapuskasing, and that's going to continue throughout much of the weekend, that concentration right in Kapuskasing there, heading into your Sunday, and a lot more precipitation on Sunday as well. So to break that down a little bit further, to see how much rain we're going to get, the areas in the southern part of our region, they're going to see less, 26 millimeters in Chapleau, 19 in Timmins, 11 in Kapuskasing. So a little bit of a washout depending on where you are. 5-day forecast starting with Sudbury, Nickel Belt, chance of showers for tomorrow, risk of thunderstorms, high of 22, chance of showers on Sunday with some sunny breaks, fingers crossed, high of 18, 15 on Monday, chance of showers continuing into Tuesday. And then by Wednesday, we have some sunshine on tap, high of 21, which is a little bit closer to the seasonal mark. For Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, chance of showers for tomorrow, high of 26, feeling warmer than that though, with the humidex feeling closer to 30. By Sunday, chance of showers, high of 20, continuing on into Monday and Tuesday. Single digit temperatures overnight on Tuesday, 9 degrees overnight, 19 on Wednesday, with a mix of sun and cloud. For Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, chance of showers, risk of thunderstorms, possibly some sunny breaks for tomorrow, high of 22, 17 on Saturday, strong chance of showers, only 12 degrees on Monday with the chance of showers, and that's the way it's going to look for the rest of the week there. For Temiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, chance of showers, risk of thunderstorms for tomorrow, high of 22, falling to 19 degrees on Sunday. Slight chance of showers with some sunny breaks continuing on into Monday there. Only a high of 13 on Monday, which is below the seasonal, which is about 22 degrees. And finally for North Bay, West Nipissing, chance of showers, risk of thunderstorms, high of 24, and then a chance of showers into Tuesday, and then by Wednesday we might see some sunshine return. That was your 5-day forecast. Tony.
Thanks so much for that, Amanda. Well, we seem to be having some technical difficulties here at CTV, so we're going to take this brief commercial break, sort things out, and we're going to be back right after this.
There's a lot to love here in Greater Sudbury. Today we're at Science North. Who better than CEO Ashley LaRose to tell us more? Thank you for doing this.
It's such a pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Ashley, if we can, let's go back to 1984. Royalty kicked off festivities here at Science North. What was that like?
What a fitting introduction to really the jewel in the crown of Northern Ontario. So when Science North opened in 1984, that's true. Not many people know this, but we were officially opened by Queen Elizabeth in October of 1984. But that wasn't our only royal visit. So in the early 90s, we then welcomed Princess Diana and Prince Charles. And so they came for a visit. They had, and at the time they had both princes, but they had left them in Toronto while they zipped up to Science North and then went back. What we know is that they had such an incredible time here that they secretly sent for the boys, and both princes came and played in Science North for a full day. And it wasn't until the next day that we let the community know that that had happened. So we know that they, both princes have amazing memories of Science North, just like all of our visitors do.
When you look back over the course of time, has Science North lived up to its mandate in 40 plus years?
Even more so. So there's a reason that we're called Science North and not Science Sudbury. While we have these two gem attractions, Science North and Dynamic Earth here in Sudbury, we also serve all of Northern Ontario. In fact, we see just as many people outside of Sudbury through our outreach and our festivals that we do here in our science centers proper. And really, I'm not sure that our founders could have imagined that their humble idea for an amazing science center right here in Sudbury would explode into what this organization is today.
Science North is best described by a lot of people as immersive technology. Is that correct?
The key is sparking curiosity, and that means giving people lots of different pathways to engage with science. So there's really a place for those amazing whiz-bang technology.
Brighton Bongard is a butcher by day.
Alrighty, we're moving right along. Love local, we'll get to that maybe later. Maybe we won't. We shall move on. A Wanapate man is urging the Minister of Natural Resources not to kill his hybrid wolf dogs. He has 16 of the animals on his property in a secured 2-acre fenced-in enclosure. He is trying to work with the MNR to relocate them to a sanctuary instead of the government euthanizing them. CTV's Alana Everson reports.
Brighton Bongard is a butcher by day and is feeding his 16 hybrid wolf dogs raw chicken. He knows them all by name and lays down in their enclosure with them to bond and play. He says he knows time with them may be running out with a pending seizure of the animals by the MNR.
There's no more legal action I can take. I already have 2 lawyers that are basically fighting them in court to keep my dogs alive. But at the end of the day, the ministry said one way or another, will come and take your dogs. And that's all they said.
He says it all started when a friend gave him 5 puppies and was told they may have wolf in them. After a barn fire on his property, he got visits from Bylaw and the Ministry of Natural Resources about the hybrid animals. He says he's worked with the MNR to fix all of them and do DNA testing.
The ministry, all they've said is that they're 57% wolf, and they haven't really commented on what the other half is. And unfortunately, over time, it went from we have a sanctuary to we might have a sanctuary to we have a sanctuary for some of your dogs to the last time I talked to someone at the MNR, they said basically we have to figure out a way to properly dispose of your dogs.
In a statement, the MNR says the government is committed to ensuring wildlife in captivity are treated with care and respect. In general, it's against the law to keep wild animals from Ontario as pets or to hold them in captivity. As this is an active case, MNR is unable to comment further. This retired veterinarian who operated a former wildlife refuge center and is currently involved in fish and wildlife research to ensure animal welfare procedures are looked at properly, says wolves belong in the wild and that they can be unpredictable.
When they get to be mature, they're more like a pack animal, and the owner will be part of that pack, but any other person walking by is not a part of that pack, and they're an intruder. So that's where the danger gets involved.
Dr. Yopi says there are other risks linked to having exotic pets.
Getting killed, getting bitten, zoonotic disease from some exotic animals. Of the diseases that people get, 75% are from animals. So there is that contagious aspect.
Bongard says he knows he did wrong and is willing to face the consequences, but doesn't think the animals deserve to be euthanized. He adds it's a waiting game right now to find out what the MNR will do with his hybrid wolf dogs. Alana Everson, CTV News, Wanapitei.
Thanks for that, Alana. What was Kelly Lake in Greater Sudbury like before it became polluted? That's what a group of researchers from Laurentian University are hoping to uncover. CTV's Amanda Hicks has that story.
This 50-pound sediment sample is a window into the past, offering a glimpse of what Kelly Lake was like 200 years ago before it became polluted. The process involves retrieving sediment core from the deepest part of the lake to identify how the soil has changed over time.
I think often we're trying to kind of remediate environments and restore environments when we don't know what they looked like prior to human disturbance, and that's really the science that we're contributing through this project, is to be able to see what baseline or normal conditions should be like for Kelly Lake, so then we can set better management targets.
In the late 1800s, as Sudbury was growing its population, sewage was dumped into Junction Creek and Kelly Lake. Up until this point, efforts to address the lake's issues have been hindered by a lack of available technology.
There has been an attempt by the city with the sewage treatment plant to improve the phosphorus that's coming today into the lake, but the technical difficulties of doing something about the phosphorus in the bottom of the lake is so much more expensive and so much more difficult.
The project will be conducted out of the Living with Lakes Center, with much of the research being completed by master's student Mackenzie Hobbs. For the next few years, Hobbs will spend her time under a microscope analyzing fossils in the layers of mud.
I'm studying Kelly Lake, Simon Lake, and McCharles Lake in the lower Junction Creek watershed. And we also have Ramsey Lake and Apsey Lake in Espanola, so they're two drinking water sources. And all of these lakes have been experiencing algae blooms or cyanobacterial blooms.
The hope is that understanding the lake's past will lead to a better future, and not just for Sudbury.
This is part of the Great Lakes system. We're on the Great Lakes Trail here that people take to walk along the shore of the Great Lakes. So the issue is not just a Sudbury issue, the issue is a Great Lakes issue.
Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
The Ontario Drug Policy Research Network indicated a decrease in drug-related deaths reported in July of 2025 in Ontario compared to last year. CTV's Madison Merrier has more on the impacts of the opioid crisis in Sudbury.
Every statistic represents a person, and in the quarterly update from the ODPRN, 605 people have passed away from drug-related causes in the last 3 months.
In relation to the coroner's report that just came out, in Sudbury, there has been a slight decrease from the period of January to, I believe it's May or June, in 2025 compared to 2024. But again, the number is marginal and not a huge difference.
It's really important that we humanize people and see folks as our neighbors, because they are our neighbors. These are our community members, our family, our friends, and really just remember that. And it's not helping anybody to stigmatize folks, to demonize people.
According to the report, Thunder Bay, Sudbury and districts and Porcupine health units have reported the highest number of opioid toxicity-related deaths in the last 2 years.
Industrial sectors, a higher rate of injuries and high-risk work can lead to more exposure to opioids. Also things like geographical isolation and not having the same access to supports and programs. And additionally, in Northern Ontario, we see a high rate of trauma and colonial trauma that can contribute to things like substance use and addiction.
I think it's really important that folks remember that we're not even towards the end of the year yet, right? We're still in the third quarter of the year, and there are 75 suspected opiate overdose deaths in Sudbury and district over the past 7 months, and that is absolutely tragic.
Pellin spoke about how these deaths can be prevented.
I think the best thing folks can do is be trained on how to use naloxone and be trained on overdose recognition and response. I think it's crucial. So I just really, really encourage folks to get trained on naloxone, and folks can do that within our organization.
On Friday, August 29th, the Rezo Access Network is hosting an open house for community members in the city to learn more about the opioid crisis, recognition, and response. Madison Marier, CTV News, Sudbury.
Doesn't happen very often, but we have another weather segment for you today. You know, above seasonal temperatures, humidity is there, but when is the rain coming? Let's bring in Amanda Hicks once again. Amanda.
That's a good question, Tony. We do have a chance of some showers overnight here, and I know, of course, it's Friday night. Maybe you're thinking about making some plans tonight. There's still lots of Friday left before the weekend arrives, and I'll give you that information right now. Why not? Let's take a look at how things are looking overnight. We've got a chance of showers, risk of thunderstorms in Sudbury, chance of showers in Timmins, Temiskaming Shores, and North Bay. So it is going to be a pretty warm night, I guess, compared to the nights that we've seen before. Chance of showers in Moosonee, Wawa, Gore Bay, risk of thunderstorms there. 17 in Parry Sound. And yeah, just taking a look at the rain once again, that is what you're going to be seeing the rest throughout much of this weekend. So there are some showers on the way. Make sure you bring an umbrella. Tony.
Good idea. Thanks so much for that. Amanda, what a way to celebrate a birthday. When we return, we have a story of a Sudbury woman who is reaching new heights. Welcome back, everyone. The Sudbury Navy League and Sea Cadets are holding an open house Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're showing off their new boathouse that has been under renovation for about 2 years. The boathouse has been a major community effort as they have received funding from national programs and local businesses to rebuild the structure and program. The updated boathouse also comes with new boats for members to learn sailing basics and safety, especially since falling is a common occurrence. The organizations hope the open house will enlighten the public about the program and eventually lead to a career.
So it's a sailing center. It's been here for over 40 years, and it'll hopefully be here for another 40 years, and for the enjoyment and of our local kids from 9 years old to 18 years old for sailing and training and winter training. We'll be using it for a number of purposes, and some of the other local organizations will use it as well.
Aside from great life lessons, Paul Mateer says they also make lifelong friends. The community of Massey, west of Sudbury, celebrating at this hour. It's the Fall Fair. The gates are now open, and so is the midway for the three-day event. Opening ceremonies are taking place in about a half hour. There will be entertainment, a horse show, plus a 4-H calf show, and so much more. The Massey Fair wraps up late Sunday afternoon. Wendy Cullens emailed us this video of her grandson and her golden retriever in a race to the water. They were at camp on the Spanish River. I think the dog made it first by a split second. Thanks so much, Wendy. Todd Rollins of Temiskaming, Quebec, sent us this photograph. It's of Gypsy, a long-haired German Shepherd. What a beautiful dog. Look at that coat. Thanks for sending this in to us, Todd. And finally tonight, proof you're never too old to check off an item on your bucket list. CTV's Angela Gemmell now on how one Sudbury senior celebrated her birthday.
How you doing, sweetie?
Meet Carol Sheminsky. She turned 85 this week, and to mark the occasion, she jumped out of a plane.
It feels very slowly that you're coming down and you're looking around and you're talking to your to the instructor that's there with you.
Going skydiving was on Carol's bucket list. Not being afraid of heights, she took the plunge as a birthday gift to herself.
If there's anybody that has dreamt of when you're in your dream that you're falling, well, that's exactly what it feels like. You get that jolt, but you don't wake up, you're going down, and you're going down really fast.
Long since retired from her job as a bread delivery driver, Carol spends a lot of time volunteering at her church. She says she doesn't have any health issues that would have prevented her from going ahead with the extreme experience. But landing was a challenge.
I have both knee replacement and shoulder replacement, and it was a little bit harder. So I'm glad I did it now, because if I would have waited longer, I know I wouldn't be able to do it, because you really have to bend your knees, and that's not working very good for me now. So I did it. I'm happy, and you do it once, you get that rush to go back, and if I was younger, yes, I would do it again.
The mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother drove from her home in Sudbury to Cookstown, north of Toronto, to jump in tandem with an instructor. She didn't tell anyone what she was doing until afterwards, saying she didn't want to worry them.
Their reaction was, yeah, she did it. I have one grandson said, well, you know what? Not me. I wasn't surprised. If I hear somebody say, look, your Baba's running with the bulls, yes, I'll believe it.
Carol was mum on what's next on her bucket list, but she did say if she was somewhere with zip lining, she would try that. And as for her advice to others looking to check off a bucket list item of their own,
just do it. Just do it.
Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
And there's more news for the North coming up at 6. For now, continue watching as we hand things over to CTV National News.